Good day, we are the Group 5 and today we will explore how teachers can effectively teach literature by selecting the right materials, applying appropriate approaches, and developing students' listening and speaking skills. As a future educator, instructional materials plays an important role in helping students understand and appreciate the lessons more effectively. So these materials serves as a tool that supports learning, encourage participation, and make discussions more meaningful and engaging. However, not all instructional materials are effective for every learner. Teachers must carefully evaluate and select materials that are appropriate for every student's needs and also their learning environment and the objective of the lesson. So to ensure the quality of learning experience, there are several important factors that will be discussed in the following.
In providing instructional materials to students with diverse background and interest, teachers must consider several key factors to ensure effective and inclusive learning. First, it is essential to select materials that represent culture and history accurately and authentically. Avoid stereotypes that may alienate students from minority or indigenous communities. Second, the language and readability of the material must align to the students' or learners' grade level and cognitive development, ensuring that vocabulary, sentence structure, and complexity are appropriate for their age group.
If I were to choose one approach in teaching literature, I would choose the reader response approach because it allows students to connect the literary piece to their own experiences, feelings, and opinions. I believe students understand literature better when they are given the chance to express what they think and feel about the story, poem, or drama instead of only focusing memorizing details. Through this approach, I can incorporate the macro skills of listening and speaking by organizing activities such as group discussion, storytelling, role-playing, debates, and sharing personal reflection. Students can listen the ideas and interpretation of their classmates while also practicing how to express their thoughts clearly and confidently. In this way, literature becomes more meaningful, interactive, and engaging because students are not only reading the text but also communicating and learning from one another.
So I agree with my partner in choosing the reader response approach because it helps students connect literature to their own experiences, feelings, and ideas. As she explained, students understand the text better when they're free to express their thoughts instead of memorizing details. So this makes learning more meaningful and engaging. So to support her idea, I would strengthen the use of listening and speaking through simple but guided activities. So for listening, students can practice active listening by carefully paying attention to their classmates' interpretations before responding. For speaking, I would encourage them to share their ideas clearly and support them with examples from the text. I also agree with her use of group discussions, storytelling, and role-playing, and I would include peer feedback. In this way, students learn to not only to express their own ideas, but also to respect and understand others' perspectives, which improves both their listening and speaking skills.
To develop my students' listening and speaking abilities in teaching literature, I would focus on group discussions and dramatization activities. In group discussions, students can share their ideas and opinions about the story, characters, and themes while also learning to listen respectfully to others. This helps improve their confidence, communication, and critical thinking skills. I would also use dramatization activities where students act out scenes from literary texts. Through role-playing, They can practice pronunciation, expression, and speaking clearly while understanding the emotions of the characters more deeply. These activities make literature more engaging and help students improve their listening and speaking abilities in a meaningful and enjoyable way.
Here are the examples how can you develop your students' listening and speaking abilities in teaching the topic of literature. First is role-playing and dramatic performance. Let students act out scenes from poems, short stories, or plays. Role-playing improves pronunciation, fluency, and confidence while helping students understand the emotions and meaning of the literary text. Second, question and answer activities. After reading or listening to a literary piece, ask comprehension and reflective questions. This encourages students to think critically and respond orally. And lastly, oral interpretation and poetry recitation. Students can recite poems or deliver monologues with proper emotions and intonations. This strengthens speaking ability, pronunciation, and expressive communication.